Happy Wednesday, first grade. I'm so glad I get to come see you again today. I hope that you guys had a really great time getting to work on your Paul Klee castles. I know that we started those in class already together, but hopefully you got a chance to change your castle a little bit. Maybe you didn't remember how your first castle looked, and maybe you added some things to it. I know that the one that I showed you on the last video was not my favorite, and so I decided to change it and add some other things to it so that I end up being happier with it. If you did not know, you can add other little details into your castle. For example, here's Miss B's castle. Okay, and in my castle, I gave it a drawbridge here. I wanted, or not a drawbridge, that's a gate. A gate here. I wanted this gate to be able to go up and down, and so I drew some little circles to kind of make a chain. Yep. And I drew some windows and some flags and the banner, which I put the cross in our banner because Jesus protects us in all things, and he's our mighty fortress, just like our castles are mighty fortresses. I added a little bit of water on the edge because maybe my castle has a moat around it, or a little river for them to go fishing and to protect their castle. And we were talking about balance with our castles, right? Because Paul Klee liked balance. So you'll see that Miss B, I chose to make mine symmetrical. Do you remember that word? Symmetrical. It means that it's the same on each side, or it has the same features on each side, which is what I did here. If I were to cut my castle in half, you will see that this side has the same amount of shapes as this side does. That makes my castle look strong, and it makes it look sturdy. Okay, if I did not have this many shapes on this side, but I had all of them on this one, it would look a little bit different. My castle maybe would look not as strong on one side, but strong on the other. But we want it to be balanced. So today's video is going to be our part 2. Okay, so for this video, we are going to be adding our color to it. Okay, now when you add color to something, it also can change the balance. Okay, if I put all blue on one side of my castle and all orange on the other side, which color do you think is stronger? Blue. Blue is the stronger color. Okay, so if you see blue all on one side and orange on the other, what is going to stick out more? Which one are you going to look at first? You're going to look at the blue side first. Okay, we want it to be able to be even. Okay, we talked about that balance, right? So if I add a little blue here, maybe a little blue here, a little orange here, a little orange here. So today when you're adding your color, you can choose any kind of coloring tool that you would like. You can use crayons, you can use paint, you can use markers, colored pencils, anything that you would like to use for yours. Okay, today I am going to be using Crayola markers, just like these. Okay, Crayola markers, but I'm going to be turning my Crayola markers into paint using water and a paintbrush. If you don't have a paintbrush, go ahead and grab a Q-tip from your bathroom. Okay, Q-tips you can dip in the water and you can move it around as well. All right, so choose whatever you would like, but continue to watch the next part of the video here so you can see how Miss B uses color to show that balance. Let's get started, guys. All right, so you'll see here I have my picture of my castle. I had mine done with a Sharpie, so if you would like to outline yours with a Sharpie marker, which is a permanent marker, go ahead. But if you're going to be using water, make sure that you are using a permanent marker and not just a regular Crayola marker. Okay, that reason is Crayola markers are made of a special ink that when water touches it, it spreads it around. It makes it washable. So like if you get it on your clothes or you get it on your hands, it'll come out. Okay, now if you were to outline your castle with this black Crayola marker and you added water to it, all of your black marker would turn into kind of like a black paint, a black watercolor paint. If you like that idea, go ahead and try it. But if you don't want the look of your castle to move around and you're gonna use water, make sure that you find a permanent marker, okay? It can be any color that you have, but a permanent marker. Now I'm gonna show you how to use the Crayola markers like a paint, and how do you find that balance that we talked about. All right, so I'm gonna actually start with, mine is gonna be a legacy castle, I think. So I'm gonna start with blue and orange, but I'll probably add in a couple of other colors as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So if I want mine to have balance here, I'm going to start by maybe finding a pattern. Do you remember earlier on, before we worked on our Paul Klee castles, we had to make patterns using those squares? Yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. Now, when you're coloring something with just the plain markers, and you're not going to be using water, go slow around the outside to make a border, and then you can color fast on the inside. That's a fun little tip. Now, Miss B is going to be using her water, so I'm just going to be putting little stripes on mine. So I'm making a pattern here of blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange. Just like this. And what I'm going to do is simply grab, when I'm ready, simply grab my water, get a little of my brush, tap it so it's not dripping wet, and then start painting your color like this. And you will see that the marker begins to move around. All right, so here is my finished Paul Klee castle. Okay, and you can see that the lines from my marker still showed up, but it kind of gives it a really interesting look to it. Okay, and that's how you turn Crayola markers into a paint. All right, now remember, you can use any kind of coloring tool. If you would rather do colored pencils or crayons, that is just fine. All right, do you see how it shows balance? And I have a really good pattern started there. Make sure that your colors show balance, not too heavy on one side and not too light on the other. Thanks for joining me today, first graders, in finishing our first Paul Klee castle project together. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned something new with it. Enjoy the rest of your week, my friends. I love you and I miss you. Have a good day. Bye.